they did to somebody or how they injured them. It's pretty much an extremely rare exception that courts actually side with the victim, and it doesn't seem to track when you compare the case law as it would normally be applied to the facts. It doesn't. It's something new. There's a lot with the new Supreme Court justice hearings about following precedent and stuff, but in trial courts, it was surprising ever to see a decision, and this is here in the heartland, that actually followed the controlling case law even for that circuit court. So I think that you have to look beyond courts. And there was a time early in this republic where courts really weren't that important, and they're getting their funds cut quite a bit as state legislatures have to scale back, and it may quickly return to this idea that you're going to fix it with that agency, with that city, that the people trying to take your house and give it to a developer. Using the internet, you can find where that developer is getting their money, who's guaranteeing those bonds, and show up at that city council meeting raising some questions that they didn't want to have raised, and pretty much the financing dries up. So you can be much more effective outside of court than you can waiting 2, 3, 4, 10 years for a case to proceed through it. And before, Marbury versus Madison, or the first years of our new constitutional government, we had something we call now in political science popular sovereignty. So it's really people getting so mad and showing up out in the town square that produce the change. And if you think your court is too responsive to interests that in your eyes aren't even legitimate, you might be better served standing out with your neighbors and friends and in your town hall than you would in a courtroom.
Right. So basically, if we want a constitution, the people in this country better stand up to keep this constitution, or we will not very shortly have one at all. And it seems like, in a lot of instances today, this is what we're looking at. Lack of interest in our government, lack of interest in our society is causing our infrastructure to rot away to total corruption, where the good people become the victims of these criminals.
Oh yeah, they have to be singled out, like the honest policeman. You got to kill them first. It's just that's unfortunate, but that's what's happening.
And I'll tell you, Chris, there's something going to happen. If people haven't figured it out, I mean, we've been robbed for 30-some-odd years from these same criminals, the Bushes and the Clintons. I call it the Bush-Clinton crime syndicate. But, they're cornered now with the stooge Obama in the White House. And they're cornered really bad. And they're financially upside down. And, I won't get into all the details. They're aware of me. I've done some damage. Other people have done some damage. But the thing is, there's a corner. And we've got up on my website, they're plotting and planning to do a massive biochemical attack with what we call the flying pigs. It's NSA code word, flying pigs. Bird flu, swine flu combined, that they won't have a vaccination on it until October. It's going to break out. It's already beginning to break out. They're going to activate it real hard around September the 1st, and they plan on killing 10 to 100 million people if necessary.
Wow.
Huge epidemic. Close down the borders of the United States to cut people like you and me and Brett off, round us up, blame it on swine flu. Oh, they've got swine flu. We had to, they've got the flying bird flu. We got to get rid of them.
Right.
And if you notice, we've already posted on my website about this last week. There's going to be a massive article that we'll be doing probably this week on it. I was kind of hoping we'd have everything done by this weekend, but I would say next week. You're going to have to come and read the report. This is all orchestrated by the Knights Templar Illuminati bankers. They're cornered. in the United States. They know it. They want total control, and they want to get rid of a whole bunch of people. It's a good reason to open up all the concentration camps and march all the patriots off. Right. If you notice the fluctuation in the weather, it's being manipulated with HAARP. We're having 60-degree nights in the Midwest, upper Midwest, Midwest, days of upper 80s and into the 90s. It's just the variation's almost 25 to 30 degrees. It's to get people sick before their immune system's weakened, should I say, from the fluctuation between the cold and the hot, day-night temperatures. So when they do this massive outbreak with nanotechnology, which is done with radio frequencies in a frigged computer, they've already dumped the viruses on us with the chemtrails. All they have to do is pinpoint a certain geographic area, and they can light it up with a computer and activate these viruses. And they're plotting and planning. It was a secret plan of the George Bush, Knights Templar, George Herbert Walker Bush, Henry Kissinger, the Millman, Leonard Millman, who's alive, my ex-in-law, who I thought had been dead, yes, very much alive. He faked his death because of the pressure that I've put on him and Tom Heneghan has put on him repeatedly since prior to 2004. I've been after him for 27 years now, but he faked his death.
When did you discover that?
This past 2 weeks, we found out that he's alive. He's been seen. He's been identified. He faked his death. He did it with newspaper articles claiming he was dead, and he's not. And you remember, he's the bank bailout crowd. They're the ones that wrote these mortgages without any houses. 30% of all the mortgages that were originated from 2001 after Bush Jr. gets in office, Millman's partner, they were originated out of MDC Asset Investors in Denver, Colorado by Leonard Millman and Larry Mizell. 30% of those mortgages all across the country had 9 fake mortgages in behind them. They've already grabbed the $23.5 trillion of the bank bailout recently. And they've got another roughly $100 trillion they're estimating that could be in these. They're for sure over $25 trillion in just artificial mortgages. So they call it subprime and the whole bit, trying to blame it on the people for walking away. The people are walking away because they can't afford it. There's no employment. And they've cratered the economy.
How did they discover the trillions missing? Do they know where it went?
I can't get into all the details because of certain reasons, but the subprime scandal, this bank bailout scandal, one day I think that you're going to find out that Tom Heneghan and I were the credited whistleblowers on it. I'll leave it that way. Remember, the savings and loan scandal I'm written about in mainstream press is the guy who was one of the main people that helped expose that, the HUD scandal in Denver Airport and Keating 5. I think you're going to find this out. We've had friendly feds, should we say. We've had friends in our corner, good guys, trying to bust them at every turn, just like this 911 Israeli New Jersey espionage nest. In the past 3 days, you've seen it light up about all these arrests. These are the guys all tied to Abramoff. They're tied to the Israeli. It all goes back to the Jonathan Pollard case, the Israeli network in the United States. It's been established. It's here. Rahm Emanuel, White House Chief of Staff, underneath Obama's part of it. Senator Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania's part of it. Lieberman, Joe Lieberman, Senator Lieberman, he's part of it.
What's the link between Lieberman? What's the link on Lieberman? Where does he?
They're all tied up with this Israeli espionage operation against the American people, and it goes all back to what they call the Jonathan Pollard case. And I'm going to leave it as that with that.
Okay,
and let things shake on out.
Let me push further because I have a little interest in Lieberman. He's a senator in Connecticut.
I understand. I think you're going to see his name being brought up shortly. I think you're going to see things happen.
I see. So in other words, there's some action going on here in Connecticut because obviously he's affiliated. That's exactly
what we have. What we have, Chris, is we have a force of good guys within the government that are trying to do something outside of the control box of the Justice Department because there's no Justice Department. We have Eric Holder, who was involved in the, should we say, Bill Clinton's